She's mighty, just letting it all hang out. She's a great house. I like lady stack, that's a fact. Ain't holding nothing back. Oh, she's a great.
Hello, everybody. You have once again tuned in to Apples to Apples. We are broadcasting on the most popular podcast network in the free universe, the Alive and Social Network. I am broadcasting from the Alive and Social Studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And before we throw it out to Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., we have to thank Coors Light for being the sponsor of the Apples to Apples show. Thank you, Coors Light, for sponsoring the Apples to Apples show, and more importantly, and as importantly, thank you for being the sponsor of The Orchard. It is that time where we throw it out to Georgetown and Drew. I think he just got hit over the head. Drew, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
What's the haps?
Nothing. I'm busy. I'm busy preparing for the live tour. It's coming up soon, and I've been slaving away getting ready for it, and I'm just.
Should we talk?
It's good to take an hour here to just try and enjoy talking to you.
Well, then let's talk about that live tour. The Apples to Apples live tour starts December 21st. That's the first stop. Trail Stop Tavern, Eagan, Minnesota. Next week we will get you the exact time, address, and all the shenanigans that'll be going on. There will be an open mic, and as we've talked about before, lots of Orchard members. We're encouraging you. We want to break the single Live and Social show record. Okay, Drew. I thought you might chime in there, but continue doing.
You were doing just fine.
Oh,
I was
yeah?
hoping you had
Okay.
the actual number as to what the record is, but
Why didn't? We need to get at least 100. That's what we're going for.
well, then set the goal at 100.
That's what I was about to set the goal at. Thank you.
All right. I'm glad we got there.
The second stop of the Apples to Apples live tour will be January 12th. Again, we will get you all the details at the Boulevard. I believe it's officially West St. Paul. The same shenanigans will go on. And part of both those tours will be the live in-person return of one of the more popular hosts of the Apples to Apples show, Drew Applebaum.
I noticed that you didn't say the most. You just said one of the more, which sounds very nice. But when you consider there's only two of us, and you didn't say I was most, I'm also then last.
Well, I was including Wyatt.
Okay.
So
okay.
before you know what I was thinking. Now we've got a lot going on with the show. And it's first of all, it's the holidays, so everyone's busy.
Happy Hanukkah, by the way.
Yeah, same to you. We've got T-shirts we've been passing out. We've got the calendar, which we're going to talk about. The calendar's in production. We've got our brick house at the beginning, and we are family at the end. It's probably a lot to take on, but I almost think the live tour deserves a song, like a theme song of the live tour.
Like a theme song, yeah.
Don't you think? I was thinking that on the way over here today, that the Apples to Apples live tour needs a theme song. Maybe the Orchard members can chime in and let us know what they think. I mean, what do you think about that?
I'm down for a theme song. I've always I know Brick House is kind of our theme song right now, and We Are Family kind of sends us away. But, it's a special occasion. It deserves a special song.
Okay, so maybe we'll throw...
I don't have one in mind. I trust the Orchard. Every time we've left something up to them, they've done a pretty good job. So I think we leave it to them.
Except
it's only fair.
Except the representative, he doesn't.
Well, we'll get his ideas. We'll read them. It'll be funny, and then we'll move on and pretend like it never.
So maybe we'll throw that out there. So much more information.
I do have a question before we go on, though.
Okay.
Are we going to be making a live tour stop in Florida? Are we going to be doing a show on site from Florida?
Well,
by chance,
that's that's a question we have to have answered with the powers that be at the Alive and Social
Right.
Network. But it really wouldn't. Well, and if anyone was down there, I suppose they could join us if we both do the show from there. But
Right.
I don't think that'll be an official tour stop.
Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose.
And we'll have more.
It's like I don't know. I couldn't think of a good analogy on the spot.
So we'll have much more information next week. Now, another bit of housekeeping, as we say, the calendar. The 2016 Apples to Apples swimsuit calendar is actually in production as we speak. Hopefully, next week we will have an update on exactly when and how you can see this much talked about calendar. There's a buzz.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to see. Because I haven't. Have you been able to see?
No.
Any of the photo shoots or anything? I haven't seen anything.
Nope. The committee's working long and hard on it. It's really not even. That's really not our wheelhouse, so to speak. You know.
No, I know. I didn't know if you had gotten to see any like sneak peeks since you're actually at the studio and everything.
I have not. I've heard some things, and I think
I've heard good things for sure.
Right. I've heard rumors of different things, but so hopefully we'll have more info on that next week. Before we get to our sports banter, the Apples to Apples committee does have an announcement to make.
Really?
After much deliberation, I know the doctor has wanted to know why he hasn't gotten T-shirts. I think he understands why he's been banned from the show.
I don't think he does, but that's a bigger problem.
Well,
We should probably take him outside of the confines of the show.
Well, the committee did get together and felt that even though all we really asked is to be a part of the show in order to get a T-shirt. So they feel that it's only right to give him a T-shirt. They're not thrilled about his part of the show, but that's really not.
Listen, there are a lot of people that were not thrilled with their part of the show, but like we made a promise. And I think us and the committee needs to uphold that promise.
All right. Well, I guess it's the inevitable.
Which reminds me, I need to speak to you about a shirt order from this side of the country.
Okay.
Don't let me forget.
Oh, I thought you were going to do that now.
No, it's not worth doing now. I just want to say it now so I remember.
Okay. That's a great time to remind me when I've got 19,000 things going on.
I know you listen. I know we listen to the show after. It's like watching game tape. Some people athletes watch the game tape. You listen to game radio or podcast stuff, and so you're gonna hear it and be like, "Oh, that's right. You told me to remind him," and then you'll remind me, and we'll move on.
So, do you have any housekeeping before we? We can't avoid it, but
I was gonna only just say the same old stuff, and everyone knows what the same old stuff is. So.
Okay.
I'm excited for the live tour. That's all I can think about.
Yeah, no.
It also means I get to.
I think it's gonna be.
I want to do.
No, it's gonna be pretty fun. All right. I guess it's
gonna be very fun. It's gonna be more than pretty fun.
It's gonna be very fun. You're right. Well, I guess there's no really easy way to go about this.
There isn't any easy way.
So if anyone, when you click in, if you notice our title, it says, "Well, that went well." Do I need to say anything further? Your thoughts on probably one of the more embarrassing. I
don't even know where to start. I think is my problem.
Well, I always start at the beginning.
Honestly, it's just you can't. We were 8-4 and we had a bye. There's been 13 weeks of regular season football so far, and every week we like talking about the bad stuff because it's more fun. You can make more jokes about it. It's more entertaining to talk about.
Well, then this is going to be one of the...
No, we're just, for forever being a Minnesota sports fan, you talk about the negatives. It's just how you do it.
Well, we don't have a choice.
But we always had a bright side.
Well, the bright side is they've won 8 games somehow.
But I'm talking. I'm on one individual game basis. You know, sports teams take it one game at a time. I look at it one game at a time. That's what we do it too. That's why we do it 1 week. We do one show a week. We look at things one thing at a time.
Okay, thanks for the lecture. Can you just move on to what your feelings are?
There is no bright side from this game. There's no good. None. There was no good that came out of that game.
Well, it ended.
Absolutely none.
No,
not from the Vikings' point of view. There's a lot of good if you're a Seahawks fan.
Well, here's something I'm gonna throw out there. We tend to have nicknames and rename people and
Right.
Teddy, from this point forward, his name, as far as I'm concerned, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what you might say, but yeah.
Teddy Ponder. That's what
I thought you were just going to call him Christian Ponder. I thought you were
no,
just going to
no. He's got his own name. He's Teddy Ponder. I said this last week, and then we had to get into the whole pumpernickel bread analysis. And by the way, most people I heard from could not believe you couldn't get it and figure it out, but that's
right. Well, most people I heard from had no clue what you were talking about. So
really?
It must be a generational thing.
Well, I heard from 3,487, so you must have heard the other 200, but that's fine. But anyways.
You don't even know 3,487 people.
Oh, I didn't say I knew them all. I just said I heard from them.
You can't even know you spoke to that many people.
I didn't.
Not a chance.
Did I say I spoke to them? I heard from them.
Said you heard from them. Okay. Whatever.
I was twerked.
Continue. I don't know how you heard from them because
twerked, tweeted.
We don't have 3,487 followers. I wish we did. We'd probably get to do a lot of cool stuff.
Regular mail.
We don't. We have. I'm looking at it right now.
People yelling out the window when I was walking by. There's a lot of ways. I'm not going to go through how I heard. The point is, let's get back to Teddy Ponder. I will say this again this week. And please don't make me pull the bread out. The only difference between Teddy and Christian is Teddy has been able to play with a much better receiving core. They both had a horrible offensive line, and Teddy has played with a better defense. I
don't think Ponder's offensive line was that bad. It wasn't good, but it wasn't that bad.
Whatever, it wasn't that bad.
Whatever, that's
that
bad.
The point. They are the same quarterback. Teddy might be worse. I don't know. And I'm not blaming. Let me start with one thing, okay?
You're not blaming him.
Well, no, I'm blaming it. Let me start with.
You just said I'm not blaming him.
Well, I didn't want to say. I cut myself off. I'm not completely blaming.
Okay.
Let me start by saying one thing slightly on their defense.
Yep.
No pun intended. Any team that's going to lose their top 3 defensive players before the game starts is going to struggle. There's no doubt.
And then lost multiple more as the game went on.
Yeah. Well, I'm counting Harrison Smith and Barr only played like a second, and then so I'm counting those two, and then Joseph. So that's not a good way to start.
Completed defense, but by no means we still would have lost if we had them. We only scored 7 points. We weren't going to beat the Seahawks with 7 points. We weren't going to shut out the Seahawks. We weren't going to hold them to just a field goal. We weren't. But,
and the refereeing was horrendous. Now,
but they called the exact same number of penalties on us as them. So you can't even really use that as an excuse.
Well, each
team had 9 penalties.
No, I understand. So. Having said all that, it was absolutely embarrassing. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, my thing with Teddy is, and I alluded to it last week, at the beginning of the season, I defended him because he had him played a lot. He did not have a good team last year. He finally, like you said, he has a good team now, or a good defense at least, a good receiving core, a great running back. You just kind of were like, all right, if we defend him now, we support him now. It's like one of those things. If you support him in the beginning, he'll eventually get it together. He'll turn around. He'll get the experience, and it'll be good. And I think last week just kind of scares me that – and the Seahawks are a phenomenal defense, obviously. They've been playing absolutely unbelievably the past 4 or 5 weeks. Probably playing the best football out of any team in the NFL right now. And defensive – whatever, everything we've said. But that was just bad. It's just bad. He was just bad. And there was no good. Can't blame it on the offensive line because when he had time, he didn't make the throws. And then Peterson after the game is complaining about not getting enough carries. And it's like, dude, when you got carries, you didn't go anywhere. Like, I don't know. And you're down 20 points. Like, I get it. Maybe you can make the justification that, oh, Peterson's your best player. He's honestly your best big play potential. But you can't work your way back into a game running the ball. There's a reason when teams are down, they throw the ball. There's a reason every team does that.
Here's the problem.
And
the Vikings had arguably 3 big games this year. One opening night in San Francisco against a horrible team.
Monday Night Football.
It got crushed.
Should have been an easy win, but it was in prime time on the road, got crushed.
Okay, then let's fast forward to the second big game against a beat-up Green Bay team who everything was going the wrong direction.
We're the only team they've beaten the last 4, or I guess they won on a fluke this week.
So they're at home. crowd pumped for first place. They get crushed. All right, we work our way back in.
Right, well, they didn't even necessarily get crushed. I think they beat themselves in that game, which is almost worse.
That's fine.
Almost worse.
Probably never in the game, but that's fine. They didn't get crushed. All right, let's fast forward to the next.
No, I don't mean score-wise. I mean, like, what actually happened.
Yeah, I understand that.
That's a game I think they beat themselves, and which is, I think worse.
Okay, so the next big game at home against a team that, what were they, 6-6, 6-5? I mean, they were 6-5,
but they've been playing well.
Well,
they're not. The Seahawks are better than a 6-5 team. Put the record aside here. It's a big game. You're playing the Seattle Seahawks, a game where you need to win to stay on top of the NFC North against a good defense. Really going to see what you're made out of. Still at home.
Right, and they get absolutely destroyed. So
that was an embarrassment, an absolute embarrassment of a football game.
Well, they didn't even look. It didn't even. Teddy.
They didn't compete. They didn't even compete.
No, and that's
from
the
play
problem.
one to the final play. They didn't compete.
And that's my problem with Teddy.
What in the world did Cordero Patterson think he was doing, high stepping from 40 yards out and then jumping into the stands down 30 points, 35
Wait,
points?
Can I tell you something even crazier about that? So I happen to have been in the car.
That he might have not even known they were down 35 points. That guy's so checked out.
Well, wait, let me tell you what's even crazier about that. Not to call out a fellow media member, but I was actually in the car because your brother decided he needed to get his hair cut for inspection, of course, the last minute. So
right, yeah, of course, you got to go during the Vikings game.
Well, he didn't have to go during. We could have gone in the 5 minutes before.
But you probably wanted to go during.
We did go during. I'm in the car, and Pete Bursage, I'm sure he'll never come on our show, so we can call him out, says that he was excited that Stewart was celebrating because it showed he cared. Not Stewart. Well, I was thinking
Who is Stewart?
I was thinking Cordell Stewart from the old.
Oh, that's funny, actually.
Yeah, I don't even know where I came up with that. Patterson, Peterson, Cordello. Doesn't really matter. But anyways, he was actually. He was complimenting him for doing it because it showed he cared still. It was the most absurd thing.
No, that's not showing you care.
Right.
Showing you care.
I know. I know.
I know you're on the same side as me, but
listen, Robinson sacked the guy with like 3 minutes left. Instead of doing his crazy fishy move, he just turned around. I mean, that's how you do it. No,
that's a veteran knowing he's down. Yeah, you made a good play. That's great. But you got to make a lot more plays than that to celebrate. 35 points.
Like, I know.
Come on, man.
I'm telling you, I could not believe I heard it.
That guy might have honestly not known we were down 35 points. He just sits on the sidelines. He doesn't care anymore. He's just cashing his check. He doesn't even really return kicks because half of them go out the back of the end zone now with the kickoffs moved up the last couple of years.
Right.
There's a reason he has completely flopped as a receiver, and it has to be. He has such talent. When he returns those kicks, listen. Out of everything that happened in the game, Cordell Patterson's the last person we should be harping on.
No, he
honestly.
made the only good play.
But it's the fact that we brought him up, and it's just that made me mad. That made me mad.
Well, that like you said, that should have been the last thing that made you mad. I think we have a big problem.
But it was one of many things that made me mad.
We don't have a quarterback.
That's something that stuck out in my head. I don't know why.
I said this from day one. You and I have argued about it 1,000 times. And now maybe next year we do not have a quarterback. It's been said
right now we don't, and you're right. And
we haven't all year.
I honestly am the first one to admit, and I know you're going to give me crap because I am the first one to admit when I have been wrong. If I know I'm wrong, I will admit it. I was wrong. Like I said, I was waiting for him to figure it out. He hadn't played that much. He really got thrown into it last year and everything. And without Peterson, it was a crazy year for the Vikings. This year, like you said, we finally had a good team. Let's get Teddy some experience. Let's get him some weapons. Let's give him a chance. And he showed flashes of it at the beginning of the year. He'd make some good plays running out of the pocket, finding guys,
right,
making something happen. But he just still can't make that downfield throw when he needs to. And I'm not even talking the 30, 40-yard bombs. I'm not asking him to be Big Ben and throw it 60 yards down the field every play. Just 15 yards. Hit that 15-yard seam route that everyone else in the NFL can throw on any down except us. I don't understand that either. Kyle Rudolph, and I know we've kind of complained about him for a while too, a guy that big should be able to run that seam route almost every play.
He can't get the ball to him.
No, and Teddy never completes that throw. He sails every throw over the middle
because he's not looking around.
Interception.
He's not. Listen, it's been said 1,000 times. You at some point during the season, maybe a couple times during the season, you need a quarterback to absolutely carry you. and not even just the big quarterbacks. Cam Newton, 5 touchdowns. Bortles has gotten 5 touchdowns this year. Carr has gone crazy. We've just had nothing from him.
You get no production.
Right. So I don't. We need to move on.
And you can't. And I don't. And it's too early to really. And I know this is like I think it still is honestly like too early to really.
Well, they're going to be in the playoffs,
sell
maybe.
Teddy, for whatever I'm saying, like, but at some point, like, I've been waiting long. We've been waiting long enough, you know.
Oh yes, I do know. I thought you were going to ramble, so okay. All right. Well,
that was honestly all I had to say.
We haven't. We've been waiting.
At some point, I can't wait anymore, and I know.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
Me, nothing. I don't own the Vikings.
You said you can't wait any longer.
What do you want me to do about it? I wish I could.
I'm not the one that said I can't wait any longer. I just asked what that meant.
Well, you don't want him. You want him out too.
Do I have to get the bread out again?
Out, honestly,
Putts.
He needs to figure it out.
Okay, well,
it's time. It's time.
All right, well, you've thrown the gauntlet down. Now, let's move on. Can we move on, or is there anything you want to? I mean, I don't know what to say.
I don't know. I mean, do you disagree?
I totally agree. I don't, but I don't. I wasn't impressed with him from day one. He's got a weird motion.
I guess that's true. He can't, and have never been big on him.
Unfortunately, yeah. I'm not going to say I told you so. I wish he had some.
Well, and
he didn't suck before, I guess, is the problem. But we weren't playing good teams.
He didn't suck. He was a rookie quarterback that was, he was moving along.
Teddy Ponder.
You're waiting for him to make the next step, and he just hasn't. He's gotten worse.
Well, and he doesn't even look. He looks like he's in a fog, kind of like Ponder did. I don't know.
Maybe he's concussed. Maybe he doesn't know where he is. Who knows? I'm not gonna try and make excuses, but the fog thing brought it up.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. I don't like Peterson complaining about coaching. I think that's poor.
Yeah, that was stupid.
It'd be one thing if he had 8 carries for 30 yards. He had 8 carries for 18 yards. Like, it's not.
I will tell you, they did not look prepared, and you
might be right. They may have been outcoached. They may have not been.
And
prepared,
Seattle seemed to throw some of those like 2, 3, 4, 5 yard passes. They knew kind of what we were working with, we did none of that.
I don't know. I'm not going to be able to find it, but there was something like, I saw a stat on Twitter today that was something like the Seahawks only, and on top of this all, the Seahawks only blitzed us like 8% of the game or something like that. Like 8% of their plays involved a blitz, more than 4 rushers. 35% of plays, they pressured Teddy. So again, it goes back to the offensive line. You literally have an extra guy against the defense.
Well, they have a bad offensive line. There's no doubt about it.
And so it's just on top of everything. It's just the same problems, and now these new ones. And we're 8-4. If you'd have told me we would be 8-4, I would have cried. I would have been so happy.
Well, we're 8-4.
Probably not cried, but.
Oh, okay.
It's like with I don't want to compare them to the Twins, but it's like
we're going to talk about the Twins in a little bit, actually.
It's just like we said at the end of the season, we were so close, and we showed that we could do it, and now it's just a letdown, and that's what hurts.
Okay, well. We will maybe back our way. We play Arizona this week. No, I don't see it going well. Who knows? They'll probably win. It's crazy.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, the fact that
thing about this season, you could have sat down week 1, gone through them, and they should win that game. They should lose that game, and that's what's happened. Except for San Francisco. San Francisco put it.
Why do we always have so many guys hurt too? I don't know what the problem is. Well, you know what. We will continue our.
We have nicer things to say moving forward. Yeah, I hope I don't have to do this every week.
Well, Teddy Ponder, congratulations! You've got a new name in my book, Teddy Ponder. Let's skip the Wild for a second. Let's skip with the skip.
The Wild are the good thing.
I know that's why I'm saving it. Let's stay. I should say with the Gopher. You got me all rattled. Let's stay with the football theme.
It was Teddy. It's Teddy. It's not my fault.
Teddy doesn't have me rattled because I was on to him from day one.
Okay, well, there are other 21 players on that team.
So we're going to Claysville. And
do we have to?
Okay, so so 5-7. Now this is the most interesting thing. So they get a bowl bid. They're one of 3 5-7 teams to get a bowl bid. Now they don't get a bowl bid because they qualified. Mm-hmm. Win-wise, which they didn't do, they get a bowl bid because they qualified academically. Are you kidding me? So now we're at a point where we're making bowl games because we're academically above some of the others. You cannot make it up. I was on the sports ticket and we talked about this. You have to accept it. I totally understand. I personally wouldn't. But, you know, it brings money in. It gives them extra practice time. It's not fair to the seniors not to, blah, 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 blah. But Central Michigan in Detroit in the, what's it called?
Quick Lane Bowl.
I've never even heard of that. Quick Lane. I think it has something to do with cars.
They're like a car service, or you go to get your car
oil
fixed.
change. Yeah,
Lane, I think.
So I don't. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, we don't deserve it by any means. It's dumb. Like you said, you have to accept it. You'd be stupid not to, but we don't deserve it.
Well, Coach Clay says we do.
Honestly, we might win. Who knows what Central Michigan, a 7-5 team, are they in the MAC? Do they participate in some action? A new thing.
That's a new thing.
The MAC always has games on like Wednesday or whatever.
Yeah, they always play Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
They get weird games. It's MACtion. It's Wednesday night MACtion. I don't think they're in the MAC. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe we should be in the MACtion.
We might win. Just because God only knows that Central Michigan.
I hope we lose. I think we'd be better off losing.
It's just we don't deserve it. That's all I really have to say. Is we don't deserve it. I'm glad we're in it.
Fascinating for the
I'm going to watch the game.
You know, you're part of the. Okay, that's all you got to say. I'm alarmed by listening to the Clay. Listen, I thought Jerry Kill was a hick.
Oh my God!
Listen
to Tracy Clays.
Listen to this guy.
They are in the MAC, by the way.
Okay. Listen to this guy talk is just, I mean, first of all, he's going to put you to sleep. He will never be able to I think, honestly, this is going to go down as the worst hire in the history of the University of Minnesota.
And that's saying something.
And I'm telling you, I would rather have Jim Brewster. I'd rather have Tim Brewster than
Tim Brewster?
Well, I know Jim Brewster, too. He's a really good coach. But I'd rather have Tim Brewster than this. This guy is going to go down as the worst coach ever. He's going to get nobody. They're already losing recruits instead of getting recruits. No one's excited.
And going back to the thing about not being able to understand Tracy Clays, I always thought the same thing about Jerry Kill. Like, oh, he's a hick.
No, he's a Rhodes Scholar compared to this guy.
They had him in the booth for the game against Wisconsin for like almost a full quarter, and he was good. I was very surprised listening to him. He was one of those guys where it was like he obviously knows football. He's a very, he seems like a good guy, but you're like, there's no way he could ever sit in a booth and commentate the game. And he did pretty well. Totally kind of off topic, but I can't talk about the team and Tracy Clays because they don't deserve it. And it's a 5-7 team that should be done.
Well, then I've got an offshoot of that. But people people liked Tracy Clay. I mean, not Tracy Clays. People liked Jerry Kill, but I think he would have only taken us to a certain level, but I think we're going to be just pining for that level when this is all over.
Uh-huh.
So you've heard of what the heck's his name? Hang on, I got to get my glasses on. The punter,
Pete Mortell.
Pete Mortell, the best
holder in America.
So he named himself best holder in America, and we have reached out. We are trying to get him on our show. And in fact, I don't know what this means, but one of our Orchard members twerked at him.
It doesn't mean much unless he answered.
He did. He favored the twerk.
Did he say anything?
Well, no, but that's just a start. You got to break the ice, dude. That's how it works.
Well, the ice has been broken, but there's no water coming through.
So, for those of you that don't know, he self-proclaimed himself the holder of the year, and then ESPN picked it up, and all these magazines.
Scott Van Pelt made a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
It was funny, actually. I actually watched it because Scott Van Pelt does the Sports Center at night now, at late at night on Sundays or Mondays, whenever it is, when he did this whole thing. And I actually watched him say it. I was like, I cannot believe I'm watching this. This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
So that's
he made a poster for himself. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it is pretty funny. Golden hands or something like that.
Your hands are too slow, they said. Your cadence has no rhythm, they said. This one's for the state of Minnesota. And it's like a picture of him with holding the ball with like gold coming out of his hands. It's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. All right, well, congratulations to the Gophers, and I'm sure these extra 20-some days of practice is really going to help because it certainly has the last few years. And you're right, they'll probably beat. They're not going to beat them. Why? You know what? They won't win.
Maybe they will.
Central Michigan will destroy.
I can't even pretend I know how good Central Michigan is.
So let's briefly talk. Let's briefly talk Gopher basketball. I had the play.
Can we I was going to say I don't we don't even really need to talk about the games because they're honestly inconsequential at this point.
Really? Well, when you lose to South Dakota in double
First time
overtime,
in 47 games we've lost a home
non-conference game. Second only to Duke, by the way.
Which is insane
Yeah.
in its own right.
I went to the game. I was stuck going for various reasons. It was there was one highlight which I'll get to, but
it was 100% what?
It was it was just brutal. It was absolutely brutal. They were never leading till the first overtime. It was just ridiculous.
They're just not.
No, they're young.
Good.
They got some talent. They
really do. They have some young talent. They got 2 guys that can't play because they're transfers.
Right.
I think I saw they have like the 3rd or 4th best recruiting class in the nation, or not in the nation. I don't know why I said the nation. The Big Ten next year.
Yeah, and they're
Joey King will be gone.
At one point, they played 4. They had 4 freshmen out there, and
listen, I honestly think Pitino's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, I do too.
It's one of those weird in between years where he's got to get rid of the guys he was stuck with and get his guys in.
Well, and Gopher hockey sucks, and so now we're going to talk about my team. The Gopher
Have they
volleyball
played yet?
team. They played last weekend, and they've advanced now to the Sweet 16 in Des Moines.
Congratulations!
They play Friday. I believe it's 6:30 against Illinois, and if they win Saturday, there's a very good chance I'll be heading to Des Moines to
Des Moines
to watch the game, the championship, to get into the final.
You really should.
I think I might. It's not that far.
You honestly should.
So good luck to the Lady Gophers. We don't need to talk a lot about that, but anything you want to add to Gophers? Gopher sports is disappointing. But while I was at the Gopher game,
the women scored I gotta look. They scored how many points did they end up scoring last night against Towson?
I think
at one point they had 82. There's 4 minutes left in the game.
The key word is Towson, but
Towson.
But
they're in the DMV.
They are
Towson. Yeah. DMV, do you know what the DMV is besides the Department of Motor Vehicles?
No, that's what I thought you were talking about.
DC, Maryland, Virginia. It's in Maryland.
Oh, fascinating to everyone out there.
But yeah. Oh, they scored a lot.
Too bad I don't have that record where you just play because you just brought everything to a screeching halt with that. I couldn't get it quick enough to have Wyatt do it. So let's.
You asked about anything to add to the Gophers.
Yeah,
I added something about.
I know,
Gophers.
and
why do you get your Gophers team and I don't get mine?
I regretted it when I did it. No, you can have a Gopher team. Which one do you want?
I don't know. Maybe I want the women. I don't know. I haven't picked yet. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm
okay.
I'm going to try out the women's basketball. 105 points. Let's go to 105
so
points.
So while we were at the Gopher game, guess who sat right in front of me?
Rachel Banham.
No.
We're talking about the women's team.
I'm talking professional athlete. Well, professional coach. Former professional athlete. Former University of Minnesota student athlete.
Michael Thompson.
Who?
Michelle Thompson.
Clay Thompson's dad?
Michelle Thompson.
Yeah, because he spells it that way. No. Why would he be there? First of all,
I don't know.
Let me tell you something. If he sat in front of me, I wouldn't be able to see.
I don't know.
Paul Molitor.
Oh, well, I was never going to guess. Well, I should have guessed him, but I guess that he wouldn't. I was just stuck on basketball.
We had a nice chat, much to the chagrin of your brother. We can talk about that later.
I thought you were going to say much to the chagrin of Mr. Molitor.
No, I'm not even going to get. You won't believe me
you've told me he went to his camp. I know.
I didn't go to his camp. He played with us, but it's a long story. I'll tell you off the air.
During the strike.
However, part of our conversation, and this will segue into, we'll talk Twins, and then we'll get back to Wild. It's the beginning of the winter meetings in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, who decided to hold him there?
I don't know. I didn't ask him that, but I said, "Are you guys going to do anything?" And
was he honest?
I think he was honest, and I've got a scoop.
Really?
Yeah. He said not much, and I was shocked because I really thought they were going to Terry Ryan was going to come bring the checkbook and just start signing guys, but. So
that is unlike him.
So here we go, winter, and we won't talk a lot about baseball because
I actually, the first thing I want to say about the winter meetings, I just got an ESPN notification that apparently the Reds say they're not trading Aroldis Chapman.
What?
Which is interesting.
They already traded him.
That's all. I didn't read the article because I had to speak. I can't do both those things.
Did they not realize it was going to be the Dodgers and they changed their mind?
I don't know. It literally was just like Reds announced they don't have any intention of trading him. I'll see if I can find the headline.
So they agree to
Or
a
when.
trade for two crappy. Let me see if I get this straight. They agree to a trade for two crappy prospects. Everybody begs on them, and then they say, "Oh wait, we're just kidding."
Yeah, 38 minutes ago, some guy that writes for ESPN tweeted, "Not sure what to make of this, but the Reds are telling other teams they haven't yet agreed to trade Aroldis Chapman to LA."
Oh, but they're going to. Okay.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. It's always fun when things don't go that way because it's like you're like, huh, I don't know.
But there's been
It's
some.
like,
Go
I
ahead.
don't know. No, I was gonna say something. Doesn't matter.
It does matter. I mean, I don't care, but why it does. Go ahead.
It's just like when. Never mind.
You just use your words. I taught you that when you were young. Use your words.
Hold on. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
It's just, okay. You
Even-
know Chris Broussard,
Yes.
the basketball writer for ESPN.
Right.
His whole thing, like with the whole DeAndre Jordan thing over the summer.
Right.
When he was just totally wrong about that. Like I enjoyed that. I thought that was funny. And then like how Cuban tweeted at him and got mad at him. I thought that was funny. I just think it's kind of funny when these people report these things and then just end up being like blatantly wrong.
No, you are 100% right.
Okay, that's all I was going to say. But I think
It wasn't
you were
worth
going to
it.
yell at me for talking about something that doesn't matter.
No, you were 100% right. It wasn't worth it and didn't matter.
I understand, so I didn't want to say it.
But you just did, and I let you.
You made me. You weren't going to continue at the show until I did.
All right.
'Cause
So
you had
can we
to
go
have
back
your
to
chance to make fun
Nashville?
of me.
Jeez. Can we go back to
I
Nashville?
don't want to go back to Nashville. Actually, Nashville's probably a pretty nice place.
It's not about Nashville. It's what's going
There's
on
not
there.
a baseball team there, which I think is weird.
There's already
Why
been-
would you have it?
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
This show has a ton of great things going for it, and people tune in to get some entertainment.
You are sidetracking us right now, by the way.
Well, no, I want to. I'm lecturing you. We're here to
You can
provide.
lecture me after the show, not on people's time.
Well, we need to. Well, you said you don't care about Nashville. They're holding the winter meetings, and we need to talk about what's going on there. There have already been some pretty big signings, not by the Twins, of course.
And they are.
What? I'm supposed to do this entire show by myself?
No, you said there have been some pretty big signings, and they are.
Well, I think Zach Greinke signing with Arizona is a pretty big one.
It is.
Okay, so what? So is this okay? So I'm gonna give you every sign. You're gonna let me know. Yes, it was. Yes, it isn't. Okay, that's how it's gonna.
No, I'm just gonna let you You said there have been some pretty big signings, and so I was curious what you thought the pretty big signings were.
The Dodgers signed Seattle's pitcher Isiko Nakawaka.
Normally, it's not that big unless you can pronounce the guy's name, but you can't pronounce many people's names.
It's huge.
So
I think he threw a no-hitter against the Twins last year, or one hitter or something.
No, yeah, he did. He was one of those guys. But I mean, that's not saying much.
All right, I'm gonna. You know what? This isn't going well, so I'm gonna actually ask you a question that I need. That probably gonna take too long because we got to get to apple picking pretty soon. But all right, let's just briefly talk about this Sano to right field thing. The Twins are the only team ever to take a sure thing prospect. Like, he's more than a prospect. He was probably the rookie of the year last year. He was one of the top. Well, technically, he probably could have been if he played the entire season. But he's one of the top.
That might be true.
Yeah,
that might be true.
That's what I'm going by. So he's one of the top two prospects in baseball. Big hitting third baseman. And what do we do?
I thought he was a pretty good third baseman.
Very good. I do too.
Play third. I really think he did a pretty decent.
And
he's not great.
No, I don't disagree with you. And only the Twins can say, we're going to move you to the best player on our team. You need to move to right field where you've never played before and you're 620 pounds. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Completely throws a different way. He throws sideways. He doesn't throw from over the top. But we're going to move you so we can keep a average at best field. I say a below average fielding, light hitting third baseman who, what, is he a nice guy? I don't understand why we need to.
Good hair.
He's got good hair, and you know what? And he's great in the clubhouse. We're gonna. So Trevor Plouffe gets to stay, and we ship this guy off. It's you cannot.
Listen,
only the Twins.
You can go first.
I just did. It's your turn.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. And I started to talk.
Okay.
I don't even understand. And I can't believe I'm saying this. But I don't even understand why we traded Hicks. I
can't believe you just said that.
Literally no ball was gonna drop in that outfield with Rosario, Buxton, and Hicks. That is unbelievably.
Can I ask you another question?
I don't why'd you mess with that in the first
Well, because
place?
of Buxton.
Now you're gonna basically swap Sano and Hicks. I know they're playing different positions, but Hicks was probably gonna play right.
Well, let me tell you something. Hicks is a much better hitter than Plouffe. So I can't believe I'm saying it. I don't get it.
And I really do like Trevor Plouffe. I like he's one of my I don't know. I've just always kind of liked him. He's goofy.
It's just
I don't know. He's not good. He's not that good.
We needed a catcher. Nope, we're gonna keep the same catcher.
Not gonna get a catcher
again. We've talked about the Mauer thing. We got the Korean dude. I don't know. They are so frustrating.
So they're gonna platoon this Korean dude and Mauer at first and DH, which means both Plouffe and Sano have to be in the field at the same time in almost every game.
Well, and the cool thing is
Sano at a position he doesn't really play, and Plouffe at a position he's not great at.
And then we got Dozier, who hits 205, and we think he's the best second baseman. And he's the best second baseman in baseball with 20-some runs.
We still don't have a shortstop. No,
you know what? Terry Ryan should be ripped off our calendar, but we'll leave him on. And maybe it's the owners. It's just pathetic. It really is.
They're just dumb. It'd be one thing if it was just me and you that thought this. Every single Twins fan thinks they're just dumb.
Now on a bright side,
you would not be able. Yeah, go on a bright side, please.
I always like to find the positives. If you combine Mauer and Ho-Sung Park,
Byung-Ho Park, close though. You're getting better.
Who?
You're close. Continue.
Hung-Sung. What's his name?
Just go ahead.
Okay, Hung-Sung Park and Mauer combined should probably go for. I'm going to go with 27 home runs and probably 120 RBI combined. Hung-Sung Park will have 24 home runs.
And 90 of the RBI.
Yeah, so that'll be a good combo. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Dude, there's guys out there too. Happy Hanukkah to Mr. Braun. We could go get him because he's starting a 5-year contract and they don't want any part of him.
No, they're moving on from him.
There's tons of people
honestly,
out there.
He brought them. He's been very good for them, but he's brought them nothing but trouble.
And
but the problem is, what would we do with Ryan Braun?
I'd figure out. Plouffe would be gone, but that's
I guess you assume Plouffe's gone and Sano's plays third.
Put him at
Braun
short.
Can play in the outfield.
No, he can't play short. So. The other problem is, and the other nice thing is, I think we owe the Detroit Tigers a big thank you because they, for some odd reason, decided to take Pelfrey off our hands for 2 years.
God, who in the Detroit Tigers organization was that guy we face a bunch from the Twins that really sucks? Let's get him.
But there's another example.
Have they not seen him enough to understand how bad he is?
But they need relief pitching. They had a horrible couple years. They go get guys. They got what's his name?
Honestly, and I mean this honestly.
Then we got to move on because
we need pitching. Obviously, we need it. But there's a lot of not very good guys that are getting signed for way too much money right now. And honestly, we owe those teams a thank you for saving them from us, from another Pelfrey or another Nolasco or just any of them. Just I can't do that again. I can't go through that again. We're going to go through it again.
So we started babbling too much about football and the Twins. So we will save the Wild. The Wild actually are on a little bit of a roll. So
they really 3 in a row.
If you want to find out more about the Wild, as we always tell you, please check out a couple different shows. One, Wild Wednesday. Hence the name Wild and Wednesday. So it's
they talk a lot about
They talk quite a bit about the Wild, and it's on Wednesdays. So Wild Wednesdays with.
Do you think the name came first, or they were like, your show's going to be on Wednesdays? Then they were like, let's call it Wild Wednesdays.
The day came first. Wednesday came first.
I know Wednesday, but it was I think you misunderstood my question, but.
Well, go ahead. Try it again.
No. Wild Wednesday. What else should we listen to if we want to?
Well, then our friends. Kevin and Kendall stopped by. K&K. I self-named them that. Their show this week will be Wednesday. Weird. Wednesday. Another Wednesday show this week. Wednesday from Dave and Buster's. I believe it'll be on the Alive and Social Network 5 to 6. I think Wild Wednesdays is also on from 5 to 6, but that might be taped and you can listen later. I'm not sure all the details, but
you can listen to either of them later.
Check them both out on the Alive and Social Network. And then there's one other one, and then before we move on, I've talked about it before, The Good Podcast with Ross. He's a lifestyle expert, someone I really recommend you need to chat with, help you with your grooming and arts and crafts and holiday ideas and cooking, and I think you could use a makeover if you want to know the truth, and I think Ross is the guy to do it. Thoughts?
I think I'll talk to him.
Okay. You do that.
I'll do what I can.
So we'll talk. We got to talk about the NCAA. Well, we probably have time to not talk about that too. I don't know if we should go right to apple picking, or do you want to briefly talk about the selection committee, the NCAA playoffs?
I think the 4 that got picked were the correct 4. It was just always it was always going to be those 4. It was the 4 big conferences and the conference winners. You know, there were no surprises. There shouldn't have been any surprises.
Well,
there's no need for it.
For those that listened to the Apples to Apples show last week, we predicted those 4.
I think we did, actually.
I guess the only sort of surprise was Michigan State jumped to 3rd, but there's the conspiracy.
Yeah, but
they didn't think they wanted
Oklahoma. I honestly think the committee just did that to just do it. I think they're like, let's make something fun here. It's
well, it doesn't. It doesn't matter really. I mean, they get to.
It's all when it's those. Yeah, they're all so close, honestly.
All
right.
I
don't think this year. I mean, Clemson is very good, but I don't think it's like some of the last couple of years where they seem that much way ahead of the other teams. And the past years have shown it really doesn't matter where you end up because anyone can beat anybody at that point.
Okay, so it is time. Coors Light is going to bring. Do you have anything else you want to add before we get into apple picking, or?
No, because I don't want you to yell at me anymore.
First of all, I wasn't yelling. Go ahead. I want to hear it. You obviously have something on your mind.
No, I don't actually. I actually don't. I was just joking with you.
Okay. You're probably still crabby from your 21st birthday.
No, Saturday. I'm not crabby, actually,
probably
from my 21st birthday.
Still got a headache, so.
I have had a long day today, but it has nothing to do with that.
Speaking of 21 and a headache, Coors Light will now bring to us apple picking. We don't have a ton of time, so we'll get to as many of them as we can. Start wherever you wish.
Our first question is from Quinn Dolan. He asks, how bad is the Gophers b-ball team? I say bad.
I think, yeah, I would too, since I think we said that. Well, I'm gonna give Quinn a little positive. I'm gonna be positive. They are very young, and I do think they have potential to be good. But right now,
I agree.
It's pretty bad. Okay,
I agree.
Thanks, Quinn.
We have a question and a couple comments from the doctor.
Okay.
He says, currently my favorite uniform. He said currently my favorite current uniform.
Oh, I'd like
the Omaha Heart of the Women's Legends Football League. That's interesting because we also have another.
Slow down. Of the what?
The Women's Legends Football League. You want to know? You know who used to play in that league? I'm totally being serious now.
The Legends, Women's Legends football.
Women's Legends.
Are these like
league.
old ladies that play football?
No, they're not old.
I've never heard of this.
I really?
No, the women. No, I've never heard of it. But who used to play in it?
It's Summer Rae,
the wrestler.
Yeah.
So it's not obviously old people playing football.
No, it's not old people. Before she started wrestling, she was on the Chicago team. I can't remember what they're called, the Bliss or something.
Okay, so
we have a team. We'll get to them.
Okay, all right. Well, that's his.
His favorite of all time is the Marquette basketball uniforms. I do like.
Oh yeah, those are pretty nice.
The question of the day is to Drew. He says, "Did you Ralph the morning of December 6th?" I did not. I got up and went to work for 8 hours on the morning of December 6th.
Congratulations.
Also, do you and Scott feel that it's far that Alabama or Michigan State is in the playoffs over an Ohio State that has only lost once in 2 years? Why is it okay to lose early in the season and not later?
Well, how many undefeated teams are there?
One.
Okay, so there's only one undefeated team, so that means all the teams have at least a loss.
Right.
And help me with this.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Did Michigan State not beat Ohio State?
They did. They also lost to them quite late in the season.
But
November 21st, I'd say is relatively late.
So there's got to be something for head-to-head competition. So
you would think so.
Yeah, I think Michigan State beating Ohio State. No, Ohio State also did not play a very tough schedule, and they probably. Although to be honest with you, it doesn't matter. Michigan State beat Ohio State. End of
Michigan
conversation.
State beat Ohio State.
End of conversation.
I don't care what you did last year. It's a different team.
Well, last year really has nothing to do with it. But okay, go ahead. I don't.
He had something else here too. I'm not sure if I want to read it after that.
Why?
It was just dumb.
Well, you got to read it even if
about
it's
the
dumb.
bowl game. He says we will not win. We will lose this game by 17 or more points.
I think he's right.
He might be. Like I said, I know nothing, and I mean nothing about Central Michigan. I can't even pretend like I know how this game's going to end.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm going to stick to emails because there's some good ones, actually.
Okay.
Happy Hanukkah, Drew and Scott. Thank you. It's from Perry Graff. Sorry.
Oh,
should have
okay.
led with that. Rumor has it that
she
one
still
of you
wants
is
a
an
T-shirt
expert on...
too, right? We got to get her. We got to figure out how to get her a T-shirt.
We do.
Okay, whoever she is.
Rumor has it that one of you is an expert on spirit animals. That's you.
Yep.
Especially the role that they play in the success of certain players of NFL teams. If so, is it a fact that a quarterback's spirit animal must be compatible with his team's mascot for true NFL success? Case in point, everyone knows Cam Newton's spirit animal is a panther, ergo Carolina 12-0. Or does it matter? For instance, Brett Favre's spirit animal, Honey Badger, played very little in his role in his success with either the Packers or the Vikings. Also, there's a different Honey Badger, I think, that's a little more of a Honey Badger than Brett Favre. But
well, let's just be clear. I'm not an expert on spirit animals, but I've studied them for about 7 years. So I
think savant would probably be a better word than expert.
Right. So you
sage maybe.
You forwarded me this question.
I did. I made sure you had time to prepare.
So she's asking specifically about the NFL, and
the quarterbacks, yes.
and which I'm going to get to. But kind of 1986, Bill Buckner, spirit animal was a horse.
Uh-huh.
And his wife ran away with that horse a week before that game.
Uh-huh.
So I think as important as team mascots, you've got to make sure your spirit animal gets along with your wife. But let's get on to, she really asked specifically about quarterbacks.
Yep.
So I called the Vikings.
Right.
And I said I need
the organization as a whole.
I didn't. Yeah, I called the organization. Like, what, you think I called Norway and a bunch to see if I could get some Vikings?
Maybe you said I called the Vikings. I didn't know what Vikings.
I called the offices of the Minnesota Vikings in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, and they really weren't going to give
helpful.
They weren't helpful until I told them that I was that I was a co-host of the hottest father-son podcast, broadcasting live on Mondays from Minneapolis on the Alive and Social Network, which is the hottest podcast network in the free world. And they said, why didn't you just say that in the first place? So they patched me through to the media.
Is there other podcast networks in the non-free world that are doing better than ours?
I don't think so, no.
Well, then why didn't you just say the world?
Haven't you ever heard the term the free world?
Yeah, but there's also a non-free world.
There is?
And I'm curious if there are podcasts in the non-free world that are doing better than us.
Oh, fascinating. So anyway, I don't even know what to do with you anymore. But anyways, okay. So they patched me through to the media department. I asked the question. I said, we have this Orchard member wanted to know. He said, well, it just so happens because it's a short week, they're all here. So he said, can you hang on? I did. So he went down, he talked to Teddy. And I know Teddy's spirit animal. You ready?
Is it not a teddy bear?
No. And I think when you hear his spirit animal, it's going to explain a lot.
Is the spirit animal going to be Christian Ponder?
That would be kind of awkward and maybe for a different show, but no. His spirit animal is a unicorn.
Okay.
I think enough said. Don't you?
I would like a little elaboration.
I don't have an elaboration. They just told me that. That's his spirit animal.
Oh, okay.
So
is a unicorn compatible with Vikings? I don't know.
Well, the Vikings have
ever really crossed paths.
What is the Vikings mascot? Well, we know that Ragnar's gone. It's a dinosaur.
Not Ragnar.
No, and actually, Ragnar suffered through the last few. Good career move on his part, but I think we've already talked about that.
Good career move.
All right, so Teddy's spirit animal is a unicorn. Unicorns are not really exactly tough, and that might explain some stuff. But okay,
they're mystical.
They're mystical. Yeah, he's very mystical. Well, if you look at him, he's very pretty. He's pretty like a unicorn.
He does have. Well, he's got 2 horns though on his helmet, not one. I guess
I didn't even think of that connection. Yeah. All right, next question. I don't know if that answered your question.
I don't think it does, but I'm glad we got that information.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We have a question from the director of Camp 22.
Okay.
2 physicians at the University of Minnesota came out with a report saying football should be eliminated from school games as it creates pressure for kids to play a sport fraught with head injuries. Helmets don't seem to be enough protection. What do you guys think? We've actually talked about this a little bit.
Right.
It just sporadically comes up here and there.
I personally just don't. I don't think the human body was made to play football. All joking aside,
no,
it
probably wasn't. I mean, and especially, but now the problem is that I'm trying to figure out how to put this. Like the human body was not made to play football, but now people are being made to play football. If that makes sense. Like people are training from when they're a child to an adult to play this game they weren't meant to play. See what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's why I think part of the reason we've seen this increase in injuries. Like you're really not going to have someone like a Bo Jackson or a Deion Sanders who can go back and forth like this anymore because of just the specialization in sports from being a kid to a college kid. You know, you're just not going to have it anymore.
Drew?
Yep.
This just in.
Yep.
Why do you never sound excited when we have breaking news?
Because I never really know what's coming, and so I try to not get my hopes up because sometimes it's not great.
Okay, well I think this is great for those Orchard members who want to know what your spirit animal is. You can go to
mine.
No, their own, not you personally. Oh. Jesus, no one cares about yours. Although maybe,
I know that's why I was like, why do they want to know what mine is?
I suggest you go to jerrysmithready.com/quiz, and we'll put that up on your. We'll twerk that out, but it's JERISMITHREADY.com/quiz. That was just twerked to me by an unannounced, not twerked to me. It was texted to me, and for those who want to find out your spirit animal, there's a public service announcement from Apples to Apples. All right, continue. How was that breaking news?
It was breaking news. I have breaking news, too. You don't have to play the music, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Apparently, Nike just signed LeBron James to a lifetime endorsement deal.
Well, they really went out on a limb with that one. So lifetime? So when he's 90...
Isn't that funny? It just says, like, LeBron James has a lifetime Nike deal. A source close to the deal told ESPN that it easily surpasses the 10-year, $300 million deal Kevin Durant signed. I would hope so.
All right.
Because that would mean I would hope LeBron would live a little more than 10 more years.
All right.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
No, that is
the whole
pretty cool.
lifetime deal.
All right,
I'm glad they really sealed him up for good.
We're running out of time.
Mike Strunk says he's looking forward to the show on December 21st. We are too.
Oh,
his Twitter handle, you know how you have a name and a handle? Do you know that?
No, I don't know it.
You have like a handle, like with the @ sign in front.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's called a handle.
Okay.
His is Thunder Strunk, which is kind of funny, actually.
Nice. Congratulations.
Good.
Yeah.
Sam Applebaum, no relation, once again, says the Vikings, once again, cannot beat a good team. Why is it that they can never win against good teams? I think we covered that enough. We don't need to go back, do we?
No.
He says the Mighty Ducks are, in his opinion, the best jerseys. # classic. They are great. Pretty good. They really are.
Yep. Okay.
Alive and Social says they're looking forward to the show today. We were too.
Would that not classify as old news?
I don't know. It's not breaking news. Okay. We didn't play the music.
All right. Well, thank you, Alive and Social.
The representative.
Oh, here we go.
Ask East Coast or West Coast rap. Oh, now, I have an answer.
I like West Coast.
See, I like East Coast. I'm not even kidding. That's what I was gonna say.
Everything's better on the West Coast. Well, you're
I don't
on the
deny
East
that.
Coast.
I just like the people from the fans, the rappers from the East Coast.
I'm a
better.
big Snoop Lion dude, and he's a West Coast guy.
I'm a big Notorious B.I.G. fan, and you gotta, especially on the first full day of Hanukkah, you gotta give the Beastie Boys the respect they deserve.
That's
From the
true.
East
What about
Coast.
your boy Drake? What is he considered? Midwest?
He's from Toronto.
So he doesn't count. All right.
He's Canadian.
All right,
He's
go ahead.
from Canada.
We got to wrap it up. Go ahead.
Let me get back to Twitter. Oh, he also says his favorite sports uniforms are the Minnesota Valkyrie. That is our team in the LFL.
I must be. Is that on TV?
They wear purple and gold. If you were wondering.
Is this on TV somewhere?
No.
Oh.
Well,
How do
you have
people
to
know
pay
about
extra
it?
for the channel, probably.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Representative. Fairly tame.
He says it's not over.
Oh, it never is.
He
Okay.
says, Scott, your wife should play in the LFL. I would go to every game.
Okay, well, I knew it. I guess I should have assumed it wasn't over.
You knew it
Well,
wasn't over.
I'm sure she appreciates that.
You knew it wasn't over.
Yeah. Well,
But you know it is over?
What?
Picking.
It is? That's it?
That's the last question. Well, actually, no. Hold on. We missed one last week. I want to get back to it real quick.
Okay.
Well, I got to scroll back. Can you fill in the silence? How was your day? How are things?
Well, the show's almost over. Isn't it kind of
I got to scroll back pretty far. We have a lot of Twitter
stuff?
happenings stuff. Yeah, we have a lot of Twitter stuff.
Well, my day's okay. It's about to get busier when I have to start picking everybody up, but I don't think anyone cares. Have you found that yet? You never did say what you did on your birthday.
What? What I did? With Georgetown played Syracuse. We went. They won. It's a big win, actually.
Okay.
It was a really good game.
I'm sorry. I might be sorry I asked this, but continue. What else?
Nothing. That's all we did. And then we went home and had dinner.
That was 4:00. Oh, you had dinner. Okay. Did you find
dinner? Did I what?
Did you find the question yet, or should we just hit the music and?
No, I think I can't. No, I'm not gonna find it.
All right.
I'm gonna have to scroll too far, and I probably already missed it.
Okay, so I'm glad we wasted the last 2 minutes for you trying to do that. Way to be prepared, by the way. Way to come prepared for the show. Nothing.
Listen, I have. Listen,
No one cares.
Right now is the first time I've sat in my apartment since 7:30 this morning. I've been running around all day.
Really?
You could do some preparation too, maybe, and help me out.
Really? Okay. Well,
You knew this tweet we missed it from the last week. You could have found it.
Well, that was this edition of the Apples to Apples show. Tune in next week. We will have huge announcements. We will have the exact time.
Oh, wait, I found it.
Wonderful. And we will have the exact
didn't
time
make
and
you find it.
location of our first live tour event. Maybe save that for next week. Drew,
Dad.
have a good night. Maybe come a little bit more prepared next week. And we will. Anyways, as I was saying, we want to thank. You're done. You just sign off. Thanks, Coors Light, once again, and we will see everybody. We will never see everyone until 2 weeks, but we will hear everybody, and they will hear us. You've got me so rattled. See everyone next week. Bye-bye.
We're together as we walk on by, and we fly just like birds.